Hi, Leo. Be honest, have you ever felt like the universe is secretly working behind the scenes, moving money, opportunities, and people into your path, without you even trying? If so, this is not your imagination. It's a message, and this video is your confirmation. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, your sacred space for cosmic alignment, intuitive truth, and personal power. And listen closely, because you didn't land here by accident. You were called here, summoned by something far greater than coincidence. The stars have opened a portal just for you. Right now, from April 2nd to April 4th, you're standing in the middle of a cosmic sweet spot, and it's tailor-made for you, Radiant Leo. This is the moment where your energy shifts from chasing to attracting, from striving to magnetizing. And the truth? You don't need to chase money anymore, because money is already on its way to you. You, Leo, are a magnetic force of nature. The sun rules your sign, and where the sun goes, abundance follows. You don't ask for the spotlight, you are the spotlight. And during this particular transit, the universe is aligning you with a frequency of wealth, self-worth, and effortless manifestation. Can you feel it? That inner knowing? That little flutter in your chest, like something big is just around the corner? That's not nervousness, it's activation. Something inside you already knows, it's your season. It's your moment. It's your time to receive. And before we go deeper into this reading, a deep dive into the astrological transits, intuitive tarot pulls, numerological signs, and the law of attraction energies shaping your next 72 hours, I'd love to ask you to do one powerful thing. Comment below, I am ready to receive. That small action? It's more than a comment, it's a declaration. A signal to the universe that you're no longer resisting the flow. You're stepping into it. Boldly. Clearly. Completely. And while you're here, let me take a moment to thank you from the very bottom of my heart. Your presence here, your time, your energy, means everything. Every like, every comment, every share, every subscribe, it connects you more deeply with the Eternal Mindfulness family. And it fuels this channel to continue sharing these soul-shifting messages, created with intention, love, and alignment. So if something about this video called out to you today, Leo, if your heart whispered, stay. If your curiosity said, this means something, then believe it. You're here because the universe is speaking directly to you. And trust me when I say, you'll want to stay with me until the very end of this reading, because what the cosmos is preparing to reveal is nothing short of extraordinary. Now let me ask you, what was it, Leo, that pulled you here today? Was it a feeling? A dream? An unanswered question in your soul? Whatever it was, it brought you to exactly the right place. So take a deep breath, feel the power rising within you, and let's explore what the universe has been dying to tell you all along. There's a reason this moment feels different, like something quietly yet powerfully shifting inside of you. The energy between April 2nd and 4th isn't just ordinary planetary movement, it's a sacred rhythm that's gently nudging you closer to who you truly are. As the moon forms a harmonious trine with the sun, your ruling luminary, it's as if your inner world and outer expression are finally dancing in sync. That friction you sometimes feel between how you feel and how you act. It softens now. You're no longer working against your current, you're flowing with it. This alignment opens a portal between intuition and action, between the subtle whisper of your heart and the bold, unmistakable light you carry as a Leo. It's like standing on the edge of a clearing in a vast forest, where the path ahead, once shrouded in fog, suddenly reveals itself under golden light. You may feel an inner urgency, not the kind born from anxiety, but the kind that comes from clarity. From a deep knowing that now is the time. Now is the moment to step forward. To speak without shrinking. To shine without apology. And when the sun appears in a reading, especially for you, Leo, it's never just symbolic. It's a mirror. It reflects the essence of what you've always carried: vitality, brilliance, warmth, truth. But there's more. The presence of the sun in this energetic window is also an invitation. Not just to succeed, but to do so joyfully. Not just to move forward, but to do so with your heart open. It's reminding you that happiness is not a reward you earn later. It's the light you bring into the world while you're becoming who you are meant to be. This moment isn't about perfection. It's not about reaching some ideal version of yourself. It's about returning to the fire that was never gone, only dimmed. In teachings that emphasize presence and mindful awareness, it is said that we suffer when we forget who we are. But when we return to our center, our stillness, our core radiance, we remember, we are not chasing the light. We are the light. And that's why the numerology of this time is so striking. The number 1 emerges now not as a beginning in the timeline sense, but as a spiritual pulse. It reminds you of your role as a leader, not because others follow you, but because you lead with authenticity. Because you walk first into the unknown with courage lit from within. The number 1 speaks of self-initiation. It whispers, you don't need permission. You already know what you're here to express. This fusion of solar energy and the power of 1 creates a fertile space for rebirth, not in the dramatic, external way we often expect, but in the quieter, more permanent way that only true clarity can bring. You might notice simple things begin to shift: the way you walk into a room, the words you choose, the decisions you make without second-guessing. These aren't just changes. They are symptoms of alignment. And what's most beautiful is this: you don't need to rush. The sun doesn't hurry to rise, and yet it always does. So, too, your unfolding doesn't need to be forced. It only needs to be allowed. When you align with your own inner fire, your presence becomes effortless. Your voice, magnetic. Your path, unmistakably clear. So as you step into these next few days, do so with quiet confidence. Trust the light within you. Let it radiate. Let it speak. And let it remind the world what it looks like to live from the heart, because that is the gift only you can offer. Sometimes, the most powerful transformations begin not with grand gestures, but with quiet conviction, the kind that rises softly within you before the world has even stirred. As you move through this current wave of Leo energy, that conviction becomes your most potent companion. You are being asked not just to hope for a brighter reality, but to consciously take part in building it from the inside out. There's a reason why your sign is associated with radiance and leadership. But true radiance isn't a performance, it's a frequency. And leadership isn't about control, it's about alignment. The real magic begins when you pause long enough to notice your own thoughts, to become intentional about the energy you carry into your day. Not because you're trying to manipulate an outcome, but because you're remembering that your outer world mirrors your inner state. That's where manifestation truly starts, not with wishing, but with witnessing. It's easy to forget this in a world that often celebrates the loud, the fast, the visible. But presence is its own form of action. And choosing how you show up, before the emails, before the noise, before the day begins, that's the moment where energy is set in motion. Every morning is a threshold. And how you cross it matters. When you look in the mirror and speak affirmations, you're not trying to convince yourself of something false. You're returning to a truth you've simply overlooked. Words like, "I am light," or "I create my own luck," are not promises, they're reminders. And in the quiet repetition of those words, something shifts. Not out there, but in here, in your nervous system, in your energy field, in your willingness to receive what you once thought was out of reach. And this is where the practice of gratitude becomes a gentle revolution. When you take the time to name what you're thankful for, 3 simple things, you are refining your attention. You are telling the universe, and yourself, I see beauty. I recognize goodness. I choose to focus on abundance, even if it's just the sun through my window or the softness of a blanket. That shift in focus is not naive, it's a recalibration. And from that clarity, new outcomes begin to take shape. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because your awareness becomes stronger than your fear. This kind of mindful action echoes an ancient truth, that everything arises from intention. What you water grows. What you feed, lives. And when you choose to feed self-worth, presence, and joy, even in small ways, you become a vessel through which greater possibilities flow. There is a teaching that says the mind, when trained in awareness, becomes like a calm lake. And in that stillness, what was once murky becomes clear. The ripples stop, and suddenly you can see what's always been there, your own reflection, steady and luminous. You don't need to chase miracles. You become the condition in which miracles can occur. That's what manifesting is, truly, not bending reality to your will, but making space within yourself to receive what is already seeking you. And when Leo energy leads the way, you do this with heart. With courage. With a kind of soft strength that doesn't demand the spotlight, but glows effortlessly because it knows who it is. So as you move through this phase, consider what energy you're radiating when you step into the world. Does it reflect what you truly desire? Does it honor your worth? You are not here to convince anyone of your power. You are here to embody it. Quietly. Consistently. With every breath, every thought, every action. And from that place, manifestation is no longer a question of if, but when. It's often in the smallest details that the universe speaks the loudest. While much of life rushes by in motion and noise, there are quiet signals tucked into the rhythm of your days, subtle, repeating, undeniable. Numbers, especially when they seem to appear again and again, are not just coincidences or patterns your mind invents out of boredom. They are markers, gentle nudges from the fabric of life itself, pointing you inward, anchoring your awareness in the present moment, and offering a glimpse of clarity when everything else feels uncertain. When you begin to notice number sequences like 1111, 222, or 555, you are not discovering something new so much as waking up to something that has always been communicating with you. These repeating digits are not magic, they are mirrors. They reflect your state of mind, your emotional frequency, and the direction your energy is naturally flowing toward. That's why, when you see these numbers, it's less about superstition and more about stillness. A call to pause, not to react, but to recognize. The appearance of 111, for instance, isn't about luck. It's an invitation to become crystal clear about what you truly want, because your thoughts are currently shaping the conditions of your reality faster than you realize. This is not a warning. It's a reminder that your mind is powerful. Like a lens that focuses light into fire, your attention, when steady and intentional, has the ability to ignite real change. So when 111 shows up, it's asking you, are your thoughts aligned with your deepest values, or are you feeding distractions? Are you focusing on what's lacking, or on what's possible? Then there's 555, often showing up when the world around you begins to feel slightly unsteady or unfamiliar. This number is not a storm, it's the wind before a shift. It signals transformation, not always comfortable, but always necessary. It reminds you that nothing real can be lost, and that resistance to change is often what causes the most suffering. In the same way that a tree does not mourn the falling of its leaves, you too are invited to shed the old, not with fear, but with trust. This is your chance to meet change not with clenched fists, but with open hands. And when 888 crosses your path, it's a reflection of the energy you've been cultivating. Not necessarily through action, but through alignment. This number often arrives at the intersection of effort and ease, where the seeds you've planted begin to bear fruit. It's not just about money, though abundance in all forms may begin to flow more freely. It's about recognition. It's about the universe meeting your readiness with opportunity, and your intention with results. It affirms that you are supported, not because you forced it, but because you prepared your field and showed up each day to tend it. There is something profoundly grounding in responding to these moments with presence. By pausing, even just for 5 seconds, and silently affirming, I have received the message. Thank you, you aren't indulging in fantasy. You're building a relationship with the now. With the breath. With the simplicity of awareness. Much like the teachings that say wisdom arises not from knowing more, but from seeing clearly what's already here, this small ritual draws you back to that truth. Everything meaningful arrives when you're ready to see it. So pay attention, not out of fear of missing something, but out of love for what's already unfolding. Numbers may be the language the universe uses, but your awareness is the doorway through which that message lands. And once you begin to notice, it becomes impossible to unsee. Not because the numbers changed, but because you did. You slowed down enough to listen. You softened enough to feel. You became present enough to finally receive. Not every door to prosperity swings open with noise and grand gestures. Sometimes, the most significant breakthroughs arrive in silence, disguised as ordinary moments, gentle nudges, or fleeting thoughts that pass through like a breeze. Over these next 3 days, Leo, the energy around you is quietly aligning in a way that invites you to meet abundance not with force, but with readiness. This phase isn't about hustling harder or chasing after every shiny opportunity. It's about becoming attuned to where energy is already trying to flow in your favor, and being awake enough to follow it. Financial growth, in this current moment, doesn't always wear a label. It doesn't always announce itself with certainty. But when the Ace of Pentacles appears, especially in your reading, it's a signal that something tangible is preparing to root itself in your life. This isn't a lottery ticket. It's the seed of something meaningful. An opportunity that holds the potential to bring lasting value, not just a temporary reward. And what makes it even more potent is that it may not look like money at first glance. It might be a message from someone you haven't spoken to in a while. A conversation that triggers a fresh idea. A casual offer that lingers in your mind longer than expected. These aren't distractions. They're invitations. You're being guided to slow down enough to notice the whispers beneath the noise. That includes checking in with places you've overlooked, old bank accounts, forgotten emails, conversations you've meant to revisit but put off. Sometimes, the path to new abundance begins by revisiting what you once set down. Just like how we often walk past familiar places without realizing something has changed, we can also miss that the value we once assumed was gone, is still quietly waiting for us to claim it. This moment calls for a grounded kind of attention. Not to what you lack, but to what you have not yet fully seen. And there's a kind of wisdom in that, a principle echoed in teachings that remind us, the treasure is never far from where you already are. When your mind stops chasing, your awareness begins to illuminate the opportunities already surrounding you. You might also feel nudged to reach out, to someone from your past, a connection you thought had run its course. Follow that instinct. We are not meant to journey alone, especially not through seasons of expansion. What you're seeking may arrive through relationship, a tip, a collaboration, a renewed partnership that brings your skills into new light. When you reconnect from a place of sincerity, without attachment or expectation, doors have a way of opening on their own. Even color can serve as a gentle form of activation. Wearing hues like orange gold and ruby red isn't superstition, it's symbolism. These shades carry the psychological weight of vitality, warmth, and personal power. When you surround yourself with colors that reflect strength and confidence, it doesn't just change how others see you, it shifts how you see yourself. And the energy you bring into a space is often what determines what that space gives back to you. So don't underestimate the power of small movements over these 3 days. Your financial momentum is not a thunderclap, it's a quiet turning of the soil. One thoughtful message. One reawakened idea. One moment of saying yes to what your intuition already knows. When you stop looking for abundance in the distance, and begin recognizing its signals right here, right now, you realize that prosperity doesn't chase those who chase it. It finds those who are simply prepared to receive. Connection, at its core, is less about finding someone and more about allowing yourself to be seen, genuinely, tenderly, without the performance we so often feel compelled to give. For Leo, a sign ruled by the sun, vulnerability isn't always easy, because you naturally shine so brightly that others often see your strength before they notice your softness. But now, in this moment, the energy surrounding you is gently inviting you to lean into that tenderness, to let your heart speak before your pride does, to trust that being real is far more powerful than being impressive. When the Two of Cups enters your reading, it's not just about love in the romantic sense. It's about reflection. This card speaks of meeting someone, or reconnecting with someone, in a way that feels like coming home. It's the energy of mutual recognition, where both souls drop their masks and say, "I see you." That kind of connection is rare, not because it's hard to find, but because it requires presence. And presence is something many of us struggle to give fully. But Leo, over the next few days, your heart is unusually attuned. You may feel more aware of who matters to you, more sensitive to the emotions of others, more willing to listen, not just to words, but to what lives underneath them. Whether you're single or already in a relationship, this window is a call to soften. If you're waiting for someone new, don't wait with tension, wait with openness. Be the version of yourself that you'd want someone to fall in love with, not perfect, not polished, but awake, kind, and curious. Allow your day-to-day encounters to become more intentional. Eye contact becomes a gateway. Laughter becomes a bridge. A simple conversation could carry more weight than you think. That's the nature of these moments. They don't shout, they whisper. For those already partnered, there's a beautiful opportunity now to recalibrate. Maybe you've been distracted, drifting into routine, or letting small misunderstandings build walls where bridges could be. This is the time to remember why you chose each other in the first place. Ask the questions you've been avoiding. Say the words that have been lingering in your throat. Love, when expressed from a place of clarity and calm, becomes medicine, not just for your partner, but for yourself. There's a quiet wisdom in knowing that relationships are not things we have, but processes we nurture. Just like a garden doesn't stay vibrant without care, connection fades without attention. But care doesn't have to be grand, it can be subtle. A text that says, "I was thinking about you." A soft, "thank you," said with eye contact. A pause before reacting defensively. These are not strategies, they're choices. Choices that reflect an inner maturity, one that understands love not as possession, but as presence. From a more reflective lens, the capacity to love and to be loved rests in how still we can become. In some traditions, there's an understanding that when the mind is quiet and the heart is unobstructed, compassion arises naturally, not as a task, but as a state of being. That's the essence of this moment for you, Leo. You don't need to manufacture connection, you only need to clear space for it. Let your walls down. Let your breath guide you back into feeling. And trust that the people meant to walk beside you will recognize that openness as the gift it is. So if someone's been on your mind lately, don't dismiss it. Reach out, even with something small. And if you're sensing someone thinking of you, let yourself be open to that resonance. Sometimes, the bridge between two hearts is built not with words, but with willingness. And right now, the willingness to love, freely, honestly, and without expectation, might just be the most transformative thing you can offer. And now, Leo, as we come to the end of this sacred space we've held together, I want you to pause, not just in thought, but in presence. Let your shoulders drop. Feel your breath slow down. Take one moment to acknowledge what's moving inside of you right now. What insight rose to the surface? What emotion asked to be seen? What truth, however subtle, whispered its way into your awareness? These are not small things. They are shifts, delicate, yes, but powerful. And these shifts are what change the course of our lives over time, when we choose to honor them. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered layers of your energy, your capacity to manifest, your ability to listen to subtle signs, your magnetic relationship with abundance, and the vast, luminous nature of your heart. But here's what truly matters now, that you don't just watch this and walk away inspired but unchanged. Real transformation happens in the follow-through, in the moments after the video ends, when you make the choice to act differently, gently, intentionally, and with self-belief. So I ask you now, what will you do with what you've received today? Will you begin your mornings with those affirmations we spoke of, planting seeds of power into your subconscious? Will you start noticing the numbers that appear, not as random digits but as invitations to realign with your purpose? Will you pause when your heart nudges you to reach out, to soften, to reconnect with yourself or someone you've been distant from? You don't need to overhaul your life in one sweeping act. In fact, lasting change rarely arrives that way. But one step, one honest choice, one decision to show up a little differently today than you did yesterday. That's how momentum is born. That's how lives change, from the inside out, one conscious act at a time. You have everything you need. You've always had it. The clarity, the timing, the unseen support. But what you have now, Leo, is awareness. And with awareness comes power. This is your moment to claim your role, not just as someone walking through life, but as someone leading their own evolution. With courage. With softness. With joy. I believe in what you're capable of, not because I've said it, but because deep down, you feel it too. So ask yourself, what would shift if you fully trusted that you are already aligned with the light, and that the universe is not against you, it's with you, always? If something in this message spoke to your spirit, if even one phrase lit a spark, I invite you to ground that connection by declaring it in the comments. Let's turn intention into reality, starting now. Write, I welcome light and abundance, as a sign not just to the universe, but to yourself, that you are ready. That you are listening. That you are showing up. And if this video resonated with you, if it held space for something meaningful, please consider supporting this journey. Give it a like to ripple this energy further. Subscribe so you don't miss future readings tailored for your path. Share it with another Leo who might need a gentle reminder of who they really are. Each of these actions deepens your connection not just to this channel, Eternal Mindfulness, but to a growing circle of souls committed to living awake, aligned, and empowered. Thank you, truly, for being here. For showing up. For listening with an open heart. You are not alone on this path. And I am so honored to walk it beside you, even for just a few moments. Until next time, keep shining, not because the world needs your perfection, but because it's already thriving in your presence.